Strongman Trust Productions. I'm your host, Johnny Strongman, and it is still Tell All Tuesday. Now we're on to our third and final question for the week, and it comes from Endless 805. Now, before I speak the question, let me just say that this guy is a stellar human being and one of my close friends, or at least as close of a friend that you could be on Instagram. I look at this guy as someone who is very valuable, not only to the movement, but just in life itself. If you go and check his music out on iTunes, the guy's talented. He's got a lot of skill and a lot of heartfelt songs that he puts forth that you might be interested in hearing. So not only go over and give him a follow, but also go download his music and support him because he's an underground artist that has great ability. And not only that, but he's ultimately, by flesh and blood, natural right, a redemptor and an American national. So go show him some support. Now, having said that, the question is, what is a non-detain injunction? Now, whether you call it a non-detain injunction or a do not detain injunction, ultimately what it is it's a legal remedy that provides your status correction in writing, recorded by the county recorder, or you can even take it to a judge and have it done. But ultimately, it provides that document that gives, let's say, policy officers or anybody else like that might try to stop you or intercept you while you're moving your private property from point A to point B and try to intercept your mode of conveyance or something like that. You can provide that do not detain injunction, and what it's going to show is that you've perfected your status and ultimately gave common law notice of your status to all parties relevant in the situation. And so that a policy officer 9 times out of 10, you can't accurately guess at loose cannons, but 9 out of 10 officers are going to just send you on your way because the bottom line is that you've given the notice that is required to show that you are not an American citizen, a United States citizen, you're not a state citizen, you're not anything that can be classified as a subject under the Corporation United States. So when you get that county recorder seal on there or the judge's seal, regardless of which route you take, you ultimately have given, you have been given legal title to the situation. So when a policy officer comes over and says, hey, why don't you have tags, or why do you have no license plates or something like that, you can give them that injunction and it will stop them from proceeding 9 times out of 10. And if they do proceed anyway, you're going to have legal ramifications. You're going to have a administrative remedy to be able to punish them for going outside of their trustee or fiduciary capacity and attacking you like a pirate on the sea. An injunction ultimately is an equitable remedy. It's a specific performance remedy that allows you to access a specific right without hindrance or without interference by parties that ultimately have no say in what you're doing. So you're perfecting your status, and then you're giving notice to the court that you have diplomatic immunity. So when you give that to an officer, if you've been paying attention to my page, any of you, then you'll notice that Averill Ryder Construction recently just mentioned the do not detain injunction and how he was able to get out of a situation with a policy officer even though he had expired tags. So he gave his injunction, and the nice policy officer sent him on his way with no further questions asked and with no tickets or citations forthcoming. So a do not detain injunction is ultimately an equitable remedy that stops policy officers and other agents of the matrix from infringing upon your constitutional rights or even your natural rights, which were endowed by the Creator. So hopefully this was informative. Hopefully you understand or overstand rather the whole concept behind a do not detain injunction. But if not, let me know, and I will run another video, especially for you, my brother. But in the meantime, stay tuned, stay sovereign, and do not consent.